Well, good morning, fun lovers. This is Thursday, 8th December 2016. I'm George McClellan coming to you from FYN TV, North Georgia's only live online internet talk show. We also streaming to you live, I understand, on YouTube and on Facebook. We are located in Ellijay, Gilmer County, Georgia, up here in the southern end of the Appalachian Mountains. It is beautiful. Today's weather is dry, it's cold, it's overcast. Temperature highs today projected to be in the 40s, slowly dipping into the 30s with lows in the 20s anticipated by early morning. That would be tomorrow morning, Friday morning. So all I can say is just bundle up. Get rid of your flip-flops and your short pants and your t-shirts, and maybe put on a long sleeve shirt and a jacket. Well, anyway, the news carries on. Everything in the news now surrounds the Trump transition. One word we heard, Iran says that they're not going to permit Trump to change the Iranian deal. Well, there is no deal. There's just an agreement. So let's get that straight. Our Congress hasn't ratified any deal with the Iranians, so that's old news. But we can talk about the transition, some new picks that are out there that do not necessarily require congressional advice and consent. Trump has picked Lisa McMahon. She is a co-founder of the World Wrestling Association. Can you believe that? He's got her for some reason to run the Small Business Administration. We need that. I think one of his best picks, though, is the Oklahoma Attorney General, Scott Pruitt, known for his continuing battle against the EPA and its climate change nonsense, and suggesting that President-elect Trump could enter, is intending actually to make good on his promise to get rid of the agency, the EPA, in almost every form. The argument is, oh, you don't like clean water, you don't like clean air. Well, yes, we do like clean water and we like clean air, but not in a cattle pond in the middle of a farm out in Nebraska, because that pond might drip into a nearby river or lake, which, by the way, is the basis upon which they claim water rights over everybody, every trickle of water. The original law says navigable waters. What's that mean? It's a boat that you can put a boat in the navigable water, not a canoe, not a rowboat, not even a speedboat, but a boat with a propeller or a drive wheel. We're talking about the Ohio River, the Mississippi River, the Tennessee River, the Columbia River, the Columbine River. All these rivers are navigable. That's what the original intent of the law was. But we've allowed the Greens, the environmentalists, and the environmentalists are the old Communist Party in disguise, to change the rules so that we have to follow those rules, and which includes, of course, political correctness, which I've discoursed on continuously. So much for that. We'll see what happens. We're still waiting for the Secretary of State. That'll be a big one. I think that'll come this week. I have an idea it will be this week. There was an article from last month that I had laid by, which was interesting. Obama and his supporters, it's the Obama era is over, was the title of the article. And it says Obama and his supporters loved talking about history. His history was historic. They were right on the right side of history. History was an inevitable arc that bent their way, but is very superficial, as a matter of fact. The tidal force of demographics had made the old America irrelevant. Any progressive policy agenda was now possible because we were no longer America. We were Obama America, a hip, happening place full of smiling gay people, Muslim women in hijabs and transgender actors. We were all going to live in a New York City coffee house and work in green jobs and live in the post-natural future of socialist utopia. The past was gone, where we had to work for our living, where we had to pay for our own health care, tend to our own families. It doesn't take a village, but now it does take a village to take care of your children and tell you how you're going to raise your children. And if you don't, we'll take them away. We were falling into that gorgeous, wonderful future of .com, instant deliveries, and outsourced everything. We would become more tolerant and guilty. The future was Amazon and Disney. It was hot and cold. Running social justice, the Bill of Rights was done. Ending the First and Second Amendments was just a clever campaign away. Narratives on news sites drove everything, and now we learn that most of it is fake news anyway, especially when it comes from the government. Presidents were elected by Saturday Night Live skits. John Oliver, Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, Samantha Bee were our journalists, Tina Fey. Safe spaces were everywhere, and you better watch your microaggressions or they'll come and get you. No more coal would be mined, no more anything would be made. The end of man was here. The end of the dead white men of literary canon. The end of white people, the end of binary gender and marriage, the end of season, the end of reason, the end of art, the end of 2 + 2 = 4. This was Common Core time. It was time to pardon an endless line of drug dealers, which is still going on, by the way, to kill cops and praise criminals, to be forced to buy worthless health insurance for wealth redistribution to those who voted their way to wealth instead of earned their way to wealth. This was Obama's America, and there was no going back. We were rushing through endless goalposts of social transformation. The military fell, then the police. Now it looks as quaint as anything from the 50s, the 70s, or the 80s, a brief moment of foolishness that already appears odd and awkward, and then one day, nostalgic. It wasn't the future, it wasn't the past, it's history. John Scalia died, Anthony Scalia died. Hillary Clinton was bound to win, and she would define the Supreme Court for decades. Down-ticket races would give her a friendly Senate, and then perhaps the House. There was no right side of history, there is only the side we choose. The Obama era was permanent, it was history. Now it is history. It's shocking. Ascendancy has been paired with an equally shocking descent. The Obama era is gone. It was wiped from the pages of history in one night that left Congress, both houses, and in Republican hands. It would have been bad enough if Jeb Bush had succeeded Obama. That would have been inconvenient, but not a repudiation. Instead, Obama's legacy was dashed to pieces. His frantic efforts to campaign for Hillary did no good. The public did not vocally reject him. What they did was, in its own way, even worse. They brushed past him. They pushed him aside. They sidelined him. They gave him passable approval ratings while dismissing his biggest accomplishments. They forgot him. They made it clear that he did not matter. And that is, in its own way, far more brutal and wounding. They didn't just destroy the Obama era. Instead, they dismissed it as if it never existed. Obama didn't make history after all. He wasn't a teleprompter demigod standing in the thwart of history. He was Carter and Ford. He was there to be forgotten. He didn't change the world. He wasn't the Messiah. He was merely mortal, just another politician who will sag and age, who will in the end be photographed like Bill Clinton, lonely and lost in a world that has passed him by. The Obama era ends not with a bang, but with a whimper, with a national consensus that maybe he didn't really matter so much after all. And those to whom he mattered the most were his enemies, determined to undo everything he did. Obama once thought that he belonged to the ages. Now he belongs in the rubbish bin. And that brings me around to an article that I found today. Obama's no terrorist claim. On his watch, at 8 years of his presidency, actually, he said the U.S. has faced Obama's Attorney General, let me think here. Obama's no terrorism claim on his watch is a false thing. The U.S. has actually faced 66 Islamic terrorist plots against our homeland during Obama's regime, 13 of which were successful. And, just off the top of my mind, Fort Hood, Chattanooga, the Boston Marathon, Orlando, San Bernardino, my hometown, and most recently, Ohio University, just to name a few that were successful. Obama's statement is technically accurate since none of these attacks were planned, we think, or directed, we believe, from abroad. Instead, the vast majority of the terror plots and all of the successful attacks since 9/11 have apparently involved homegrown terrorists, supposedly radicalized, who plotted their attacks right here in the U.S. That is a questionable statistic. It may or may not have happened. The San Bernardino husband and wife team, the Bonnie and Clyde from Pakistan, gives light to that. There were people seen helping load materials into their house, which turned out to be guns, pipe bombs, ammunition. There was a cell network going on there, so there was a pre-plan and a premeditation to that particular assault. Now this jerk in his car with his knife, okay, he's a loose cannon, lone wolf maybe, but I think a search will find that somewhere along the line there was some, no matter how small, some type of an organization. While preventing such attacks is vital, it is not enough. The threat has morphed, the style of attacks have evolved, and the willingness to die perpetrating them is on the rise because it's in the Quran. It says so in their holy book. Holy. It's not a holy book. It's an Abdullah 101 course in Islam for Dummies. Obama's comment obscures the truth that in his 8 years in office, as shown by the increase in the number of Islamic plots and successful attacks, the homeland has been less safe than it was before 9/11. Claiming victory while the U.S. is in its most active period of terrorist activity since 9/11 is not only pushing a false narrative, but it risks diverting our attention from what needs to be done to defend our homeland. Trump recognizes that, and his appointments, the people he is appointing to fill Homeland Security, a Marine Corps General, a Department of Defense, a Marine Corps General, and his security advisor, an Army General. These are important things. These are important decisions on who he appoints because these men, these generals, these are America's finest warriors in the leadership capability. They're face on with Islam and the battle against it. They know what's going on, and they're not going to lie to us and confuse us with nonsense. Religion of peace, give me a break. When it absolutely says in their scripture that they have to either convert people or kill them, cut off their heads, make them bleed. I mean, there's so many verses out there. I've mentioned them before, probably mention them again many times. So anyway, that's my 2 points on Obama, and he's going out and puzzled, absolutely puzzled. Now, we're talking about the changes coming, the changes needed. The left is, according to some outlets, epileptic about who Trump is appointing to these various jobs. Because they see that they're absolutely 180 degrees out of phase with what Obama was doing or trying to do to make America a socialist utopia. Ain't going to happen. Americans are Americans. We still have that DNA running through us that was generated with Pearl Harbor. We've got to understand that. An excellent compilation of points was found in the Daily Signal. It's a site I like to go to, obviously. A conservative site. The Daily Signal is multimedia news, an organization associated with the Heritage Foundation. Speaking, and back to Obama, speaking at a military base in Tampa Tuesday, President Obama touted his legacy as Commander-in-Chief. He loves to call himself Commander-in-Chief. What a term for an idiot. Making the case that no foreign terrorist organization has successfully planned and executed an attack on our homeland during his 8 years in office. I don't think so. I think San Bernardino and maybe even Orlando would make a lie of that. The Republican chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee yesterday countered Obama's state of the terrorism threat, describing how Congress will aim to work with new President-elect Trump to make America safe again, to make it safe again. We might recall that for some reason, which is obscure to me, but Rahm Emanuel, mayor of Chicago, made the pilgrimage to Trump Tower. I'm sure he wasn't offered a job, but his presence in Trump Tower signaled to every sanctuary city in America that that Trump has got something planned for them, something they're not going to like. And of course, follow the money. Everything is following the money. He's going to cut off their funds, cut off the grants to their police departments if they don't cooperate, if they don't follow the rule of law. So we see these people coming and going, and there's always look for an ulterior motive or something that is different. You know he's not going to give Rahm Emanuel a job any more than he's going to give Al Gore a job. When I said the Republican chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, I'm referring specifically to Mike McCall, a Republican from Texas. He delivered the State of Homeland Security address at the Heritage Foundation. He outlined a rush of counterterrorism policies marked by a stricter U.S. approach to determining who is allowed or going to be allowed into this country. I think that all of these third world countries, immigration, we've had enough from these third world countries. It should end. Let's start opening the doors to Ukrainians, to Poles, to Czechs, to Slovaks, to Germans, Europeans who want to come here and throw their roots down in this country, who want to be Americans. We've got to do that. I'm convinced of it. Like Trump, McCall proposed that the U.S. immediately suspend immigration from high-risk countries where we cannot confidently weed out terror suspects. He said he agrees with Trump on most issues. Did I miss the break time? Cool.
No, you can continue.
I can continue. He says he agrees with Trump on most issues, promising the Republican-led Congress will work with the president to impose extreme vetting of immigrants and refugees, and he will build a wall with Mexico and deport criminal illegal immigrants. And I think we can take a break right there. Is that close enough? Yeah, that's good enough. We'll say on the other side of this. We'll carry this on because I'm going into just a slightly different thought process.
Pizza Hut makes great pizza, but they can't tell you what a gift it is. I can. They took a grilled cheese and combined it with stuffed crust pizza. To think, I almost wasn't here to try it.
How did you?
It's not important, Jan. What's important is that I watched the sunrise this morning. Then I got to stand in a room filled with this pizza. and later I'll stare at the ocean. Or maybe I'll learn Russian, or listen to jazz, or try my hand at needlework, or open a door for a beautiful woman, or read a human interest story, or make dessert wine, or ride a wild horse, or experiment with watercolors. Eat every slice like it's your last. Especially you, Doug. Especially Doug, right? You care about Doug. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Proof that no one outpieces the Hut.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia, Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Days ahead.
When Days Chevrolet in Jasper gives thanks, we give big. With over 20% off MSRP on remaining 2016 models and savings up to $10,000. New Silverado Crew Cabs from just $31,900. Or get 20% off MSRP plus Days discounts on 2016 Malibus. Now just $18,900. Save up to $10,000 off MSRP today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Pizza Hut makes the best pizza in the entire universe, but they won't tell you that. I've been marooned on this planet for a while now. You are an impressive race. Your children know excellent hiding places. Your oceans aren't filled with lava. And you figured out how to combine a grilled cheese sandwich with a Pizza Hut pizza. Surely interstellar travel will soon follow. And then I can finally get back home. Round. Round like home. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Proof that no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Welcome back, sun worshipers. This is George McClellan at FetcherNews.com, North Georgia's only live internet TV talk show. You can see us on FetcherNews.com, FetcherNewsTV.com, YouTube, and Facebook. We're talking about Representative Michael McCall, who's chairman of the Homeland Security Committee of the House. He said that he calls for a serious approach to preventing the kind of homegrown terrorism, and that would be like the OSU attacker, that has come to define how the Islamic State, ISIS as it were, imposes its will by inspiring lone wolf Americans to attack domestically. I'm going to add something else here. These people who come here as immigrants, they're not Americans. Anybody who does not support the Constitution of the United States is not an American. A U.S. citizen? Absolutely. All the rights and benefits? Absolutely. But they're not Americans in my definition. They're U.S. citizens. Fine. So don't be calling him an American. Call him what he is. He's a jihadist. And until they get rid of jihadists and fall under and agree to be Americans because they understand the Constitution, the rule of law, and abandon Sharia, don't put them in the same category that I'm in. I won't have it. It simply won't have it. So here's Representative McCall said we face difficult choices that will determine if this conflict we have with Islam takes years or if it takes lifetimes. Well, if it takes lifetimes, that means we're not doing something right, and it means we are succumbing to political correctness. But he has proposals, and I'm going to share those with you. He says shutting down terrorist pathways. McCall, like Trump, wants to suspend the U.S. refugee program to resettle Syrians fleeing war and terrorism, etc., until we can get the right protections in place. The Obama administration counters that the current vetting process for Syrian refugees is the most stringent screening for any category of illegal immigrant. It has admitted more than 14,000 Syrian refugees since last October. Are they kidding me? How do you vet somebody who comes from a city where all the records are destroyed, the police records, the home records, the county records, whatever they call their political divisions? We are a compassionate nation, Obama said, and we have a very proud tradition of welcoming refugees. Yes, but not importing jihadists who claim to be refugees. We cannot allow terrorists to take advantage of our humanitarian efforts, which is exactly what they're doing. Germany is facing that now. The Paris, and so is all of Europe. The Paris attack a year ago, those people came in as refugees, and they were in fact jihadists. Trump already has the authority to immediately pause the U.S. refugee program completely or restrict refugees from specific countries, because there was a law in 1953, I read it on this program last month, that absolutely prohibits Islam in America. There can be no Sharia law, no importation of or making citizens out of Islamists, out of Muslims. It's already a law. It's just sitting there unused. Trump has the authority to immediately pause the refugee program completely or restrict refugees from specific countries. Trump can also limit other forms of legal immigration to the U.S. as he and his incoming administration has hinted they may do anyway. Well, one of the things is to cut off the money, the funding that goes to United Parcel Service. United Parcel Service has reconfigured their 747 airplanes to carry to fly into America thousands of Syrian refugees. Defund that program, United Parcel will stop. I mean, they're a business, and they're a business like any other business trying to make money. We are in the highest threat environment since my tenure as chairman started, said McCall. He signaled he would support doing that, saying that the U.S. must immediately suspend immigration from high-risk countries. They're in agreement. Congress will follow, and we'll see this come to an end. That leaves us with a problem with this vast pool that Obama has already brought in here of jihadist refugees. Somalians are particularly odious. Not because they're black, but because they're from Somali. And they're the ones going out right now doing most of the killing, the OSU guy. Minnesota is a particularly bad place for Somalis who are jihadists. Minnesota, yeah, Wisconsin, that area. But they send these desert people to the snow where it's cold and freezing. That's great. I don't know if they meant to drive them out or whatever. McCall did not specify which countries fit the criteria. Foreign travelers to the U.S. who are not subject to suspensions should still receive extreme vetting. McCall said that, which he defined as increasing visa security by deploying more investigators at diplomatic posts abroad. A very good idea. You got a big Homeland Security whose morale is so low now. Take some of those people, give them overseas jobs. Doing just that. They can be seconded to the Department of State to work in the visa division. We have to cease the radicalization of some of those lone wolfers here in the United States. McCall agrees with Obama on at least one aspect of counterterrorism policy, that one. In their speeches, both emphasize the importance of preventing domestic terrorist attacks committed by, and here's the word that Obama throws in, vulnerable U.S. residents and citizens who are often radicalized online. How do you get radicalized online? If you didn't want to be radicalized online. Online is just providing you an excuse. Recent terrorist attacks have included the Boston Marathon bombing, mass shootings at Fort Hood, Texas, San Bernardino, Orlando, Florida, the George Washington program of extremism reports that since March 2014, 111 individuals have been charged in the U.S. for offenses related to helping, planning, or acting on behalf of ISIS. That even means getting a passport and buying a ticket to go to Turkey so they can enroll in an ISIS infantry battalion and shoot at Americans or whoever. McCall's approach to the challenge is similar to what Obama said he believes the U.S. government can work with, as far as Muslim leaders across the country is concerned, to defend their communities against extremist ideology. We don't need Muslims. Imams in their mosques, that's where the center of this business is anyway. They don't have to go online. They just go listen to a guy speaking a language that most of us don't speak, telling them how bad the great devil America is. And then they'll go out and attack. They'll get it into their own mind. Many communities have already developed their own innovative strategies. I haven't seen one. And every time somebody comes up with an idea, it's struck down as politically incorrect, Islamophobic. And I remind you, Islamophobic means self-defense. That's a self-defense mechanism to me, not hate speech. That's a self-defense mechanism. And I cling to it, and I understand it, and you should too. And I really believe that. The Daily Signal, the source of this information, has reported that the Obama administration is supporting some of these efforts with grant money. That sounds suspicious. Why are they giving grant money to CARE? Think about that. Follow the money. Representative McCall said he wants to narrow Obama's counter-radicalization efforts, to narrow the counter-radicalization efforts and focus primarily on Islamic extremism. He also called for working with private sector to remove terrorist content from the internet. Interesting, Facebook has already decided that they're going to censor other people's materials. If it's conservative, off it goes. Off it goes. I'm surprised if this TV show ends up on Facebook, if they actually look at it. We need to repeal and replace Obama's failed and politically correct program of countering violent extremism policies because they're not working. Obama leads from behind, and he has no experience. The sad thing, we voted for him, re-elected him 4 years ago for another term. I do not understand that. I simply do not understand that. We should focus more, according to McCall, than generic violence prevention. That's exactly right. Remember San Antonio, Texas, last year there was a cartoon convention going on against Muhammad, the prophet, at a big convention center, and a policeman managed to shoot two guys who'd come there who decided they wanted to shoot the place up and killed them. And I'm being signaled that it's time to take another break so we can pay for this show. We'll see you on the other side. Are we having fun yet? I am. I enjoy this.
Pizza Hut makes great pizza, but they can't tell you what a gift it is. I can. They took a grilled cheese and combined it with stuffed crust pizza. To think, I almost wasn't here to try it.
How did you?
It's not important, Jan. What's important is that I watched the sunrise this morning. Then I got to stand in a room filled with this pizza. And later I'll stare at the ocean. Or maybe I'll learn Russian. Or listen to jazz. Or try my hand at needlework. Or open a door for a beautiful woman. Or read a human interest story or make dessert wine. Or ride a wild horse. Or experiment with watercolors. Eat every slice like it's your last. Especially you, Doug. Especially Doug, right? You care about Doug. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Proof that no one outpieces the Hut.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia, Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine.
El Rey.
El Rey and Ellijay.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on-site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Better days ahead.
When Days Chevrolet in Jasper gives thanks, we give big. With over 20% off MSRP on remaining 2016 models and savings up to $10,000. New Silverado crew cabs from just $31,900. Or get 20% off MSRP plus Days discounts on 2016 Malibus. Now just $18,900. Save up to $10,000 off MSRP today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Pizza Hut makes the best pizza in the entire universe, but they won't tell you that. I've been marooned on this planet for a while now. You are an impressive race. Your children know excellent hiding places. Your oceans aren't filled with lava. And you figured out how to combine a grilled cheese sandwich with a Pizza Hut pizza. Surely interstellar travel will soon follow. And then I can finally get back home. Round. Round like home. The grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Proof that no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Well, welcome back, sun worshippers. George McClellan at FetcherNews.com, North Georgia's only live internet talk show. I can be reached at 706-889-9700. A last word on Representative McCall. He said that we should target the specific threat we faced. The specific threat, not the generic violence that we see in the news, but the specific threat, which is radical Islamic terrorists. Now, if you're following this, I will finish up Representative McCall's comments Monday morning. I want to go right now to the final thoughts. This is the last portion of the show. I've found a wonderful letter written by a fellow named Andrew Clavin. Andrew Clavin, it was day before yesterday. And he titled his article, "Why Are Leftists Such Pansies?" And we see the breakdown on television and in the internet news articles, these people weeping and crying and consoling themselves and finding safe spaces. But I'm going to read this one to you and enjoy it with me. Many times we accuse our political opponents of crimes of which we ourselves are equally guilty. Neither the left nor the right has a monopoly on dishonesty, hypocrisy, or hyperbole. But there is at least one unpleasant trait that seems to reside almost exclusively in the hearts of leftists, a pulling hysterical weakness in the face of setbacks and defeat. Pity. I think Obama is the worst president of my lifetime, an incompetent ideologue who made the world and the country worse. The economy is not as bad as it was directly after the crash, but it is much, much worse than it would have been had it not been weighted down with Dodd-Frank regulation and the anvil of Obamacare. Racial tension is worse. The national spirit is worse, at least it was until the 8th of November. Our federal institutions are more politicized and corrupt, all because Obama simply did not know how reality works and would not change his mind. He knows everything. He is the smartest man in the world. He got a Nobel Prize for it. I knew all of this was true, or would be true, by 2012, and when Obama was reelected over Mitt Romney, a much wiser, more adult, and steadier hand, I was, like everybody, dismayed. I was saddened. I was even distraught. But I did not become a sniveling, whiny, self-obsessed pansy. I did not, that is to say, behave like the leftists are behaving today, as we see on television. I did not cry. I did not protest. I did not demand a recount. I did not urge electors to betray their votes or the voters. I did not say Obama was not my president. I respected the will of the people, and even though I found it hard to respect the people whose will it was. But the left, never mind the college snowflakes who can't even hear an idea they disagree with without retreating to a safe space. What about the adults? The New York Times, a former newspaper, now reads like a 12-year-old girl's sleepover after a mouse got in it. It's embarrassing. How to cope with Trump? Trump's threat to the Constitution? Trump's agents of idiocy? The guy hasn't even done anything yet. He's not president. In the Washington Post, Stephanie Lang writes a piece headlined, "Trump's election stole my desire to look for a partner." Well, we're left wondering if she's looking for a husband, which could be true because she has 2 kids, a divorcee, single mother, or for a lesbian relationship, I don't know. But once it was clear that Donald Trump would be president instead of Hillary Clinton, she said, I felt sick to my stomach. I wanted to gather my children in bed with me and cling to them like we would if thunder and lightning were raging outside with winds high enough that the power might go out. The world felt that precious to me. She lives in Montana, by the way. Creaky. What a weakling she is. What a wimp. Everything Trump does, every move he makes is greeted with cries of despair or panic. And that's only from the left, mind you. Trump does not say or do anything now, I am absolutely convinced, without a motive behind it. The call from Taiwan is an example. That sent a message to China. The Boeing aircraft, Air Force One, the expense of that sent a message to businesses. What he did with the Carrier air conditioning company, that sent a message to businesses. And if he gets the tax down like he said he was going to do, those businesses are going to come back. They're going to bring their millions with them, and prosperity will reassert itself here in America. Everything Trump does, every move, is greeted with cries of despair. He's supposed to ask China's permission before he takes a call from Taiwan? Oh my God. Have respect for your country. Have some respect for yourself. How about California's Democrat congressional weenie Zoe Lofgren? She held a forum to discuss the possibility of replacing the Electoral College, during which she said, quote, rational people, not the fringe, are now talking about whether states should be separated from the United States. Well, California is talking about that anyway. It will not happen. Honey Bear, Zoe, you're a California congressman. You don't have any rational people out there. I mean, really, Where are these pansies coming from? How do they grow? Here's my guess. A right-winger turns on his favorite television show and has his favorite character tell him his favorite candidate is demonic. He turns on the news and hears journalists edit out stories of Democrat malfeasance whilst emphasizing Republican corruption. He goes to the movies and has his political beliefs insulted. His favorite singer hates him. His professor excoriates him. His employer would fire him if he knew what he thought. It makes you tough. It makes you smart. It makes you educate yourself as to why you believe what you believe and what are the arguments for and against it. A leftist, he floats in a candy cane cloud of self-congratulation, self-reinforcement. Hollywood, the news media, academia, they all tell him you're smart, you're good, you're right, you're nice, you're going to win the election. Everyone can see that. How could you lose? Anyone who disagrees with you is bad, and they're stupid, and they're mean, wicked people. I have no problem with there being two sides to an argument. I have no problem with the left trying to make its case. But the whining, the weakness, the weeping, the hysteria, the rending of garments, the thrashing of breast, it's like being stuck on an airplane with a crying baby. Grow up. Please grow up. Or at least stick your thumb in your mouth and keep the noise down. You're making so much noise, it's hard for me to enjoy your suffering. Well, okay, it's not that hard. That's my thought for the day. On that. And what do I got? I still got about 4 minutes left, don't I? I want to go back to Michael Barone. He says he posits the collapse of the political left. I think I agree with him. I haven't read the article, but I saw some excerpts from it. We'll take the last couple of minutes and share what we think is the collapse of the political left. It's been a tough decade for the political left. 8 years ago, a Time magazine cover portrayed Barack Obama as Franklin Roosevelt, complete with cigarette and holder and a cover proclaiming a New Deal. A Newsweek cover announced we are all socialists now. Well, now the cover story is different. Time has just announced inevitably, though and a bit begrudgingly, that its person of the year for this year, for 2016, is Donald Trump. Who else? Who else? No mention of a New Deal or socialism, but they didn't mention a divided country. Trump immediately shot back, I'm not president. I didn't divide the country. You all did. The press and Obama. You divided the country. I'm taking over a divided country. We'll see if we can solve that problem. You won't hear much more of that. It's not surprising that news magazine editors expected a move to the left. The history they'd been taught by the New Deal admirers, influenced by Karl Marx, was the economic distress moves voters to demand a larger and more active government. I don't think so. Politically, on paper, that might look where it goes, but they forget the individual. They discount the individual. The individual, everybody has their own needs, their own purpose for living, their own reason for doing what they're doing, and it is not what the state wants them to do. And the Soviet Union is a good example of that, as is communist China now. It's not communist. It still has a communist party in the government, but it's capitalist. And they follow the money, and they're looking for everything that policies that will make them more money. There was some empirical evidence as well. The recession triggered by the financial crisis of 2007 and 8, which I remind you was the last 2 years of Bush's presidency, his final 4 years in office, was all Democrat Congress and Senate. And Congress spends the money. Congress spends the money. So that Dodd-Frank and all of that recession, that's strictly a Democrat program. And anyway, my hour is up. My week is up. We're going to have some really cold weather coming in, but no rain for a while. And winter's here, I want you to enjoy it. Just stay safe, and we'll see you on the other side. Now, go get them.